Well, God bless you, Bishop Shaver here, and just a wonderful day, nice and cool outside. And don't you just love the weather cooling down? Allergies are going down, and just feeling good and everything. And so, I'm so grateful for what God is doing, and thinking about Thanksgiving this year and how that. There's so many right now that are depressed. We just heard of a young man that committed suicide and, just felt there was nothing worth living for. Excuse me. And so when we begin to look at this, I ask one question. What would bring a person, what would bring them to the place of wanting to commit suicide? That would bring them to that place to where life has no value anymore. Young man married and, in the military, and just wondering what is going on inside of his head that brings him to that place, and who was watching him, who was seeing all the symptoms of this depression, maybe having anxiety attacks, whatever it is. I think that what happens is we have to be aware of those that are around us. We have to be aware of those that are depressed. There's a lot that go through what I call seasonal depression, political depression, divorce depression, sickness depression. And when they go through this and everything else, it's a season. And, many of them that go through divorce end up, remarrying and having children by another spouse, and they end up continuing with life. But then there are some that will just allow it to drag them down to the very brink of death, or it brings in anger issues. It makes them to where they don't want anybody around them to be happy. They're just full of anger and bitterness. And I look at right now, there are so many today that with mixed emotions and everything, and with the election that went on, and they're just, there's some that literally are to the point that, they would kill somebody. They literally would attack somebody because their belief system or their belief structure has been attacked. And, and so what happens is, here these are, they're the ones that, they feel that they're right regardless of whatever. We've seen with the abortion activists that they're violent. Oh, they get out there and scream and holler, and they'll attack somebody that is pro-life, and I ask this why. If you have, if you have a belief as backed up with, with scientific, information, it's been tested, been, tried and proved, or if you have information that was passed from, mouth to ear, and they just kept passing it on down through time, but there is no truth in it. There's no structure in it. We look at this and we find out that it is nothing more than just a statement of a man that's been repeated through history. And so there are men today that are in that, and they just, they get very violent. And so, coming up with Thanksgiving, there's going to be ones that won't show up for Thanksgiving because of the election, because of the political issues. There's ones that, that are going to not have anything to do with co-workers. They're not going to have anything to do. Even people in church, brothers and sisters in church, that, they come to the place to where they begin to even argue over scriptures, and they get into theology, and what happens is well, this is the way I was taught, this is the way the church I grew up in. And my statement is, what does the Bible say? We all read the Bible, we have the same Bible, and if we don't understand what it's saying, then we need a teacher, okay? And so I think with that right there, that even the Apostle Paul said that some of you are in need of being taught because you're only using hearsay. And so just because a building has a steeple on it doesn't make it a church. Just because someone said this is a house of God doesn't mean it's a house of God. when we stop preaching the word and start preaching my feelings, this is what I feel, this is what I think, this is, then understand this right here. We are taking people to the edge of the cliff of destruction, of ignorance, and throwing them off. We got to come back to the basic knowledge of the Word of God. We got to come back to the fruit of the Spirit, and we got to be the ones that show that in the midst of all of this right here, the chaos and all the anger and attempted suicides, murders, rapes, all this that's going on, that we have to have still the joy of the Lord that gives us the strength and the ability to be able to search out the truth and then implement it, whether it's in the house of God, whether it's in the court system, whether it's in the government that we have to take and understand what is the truth. So I'm just wanting you to believe that this season coming up with Thanksgiving and everything else, that it's not going to be a time of anger and bitterness and political, shouting across the table. And no, it'll be a time that the family can get together, reflect on the good things that the family's done, reflect on everything that has gone forth, okay? All right, and remember, this is a day that the Lord hath made. Let's rejoice in it. Let's be glad. God bless you, and we love you.